my career from nothing to Red Rocks and exploring and researching things along the way and sharing it with you guys so we can learn and live together. Hashtag live, laugh, love. So today we're looking at a pain point of songwriting. And we've done, I'll tell you what my first pain point is. I did lose a couple of videos, but I went with the chi, even though it was like an hour and a half's worth. Just went with the chi of letting go of having to have things always upload. So I went with the reps of uncertainty. I'm feeling pretty good for it. Today, hopefully, it's going to record. So, imposter syndrome. We've already done perfectionism and burnout. So, as always, perplexity, research-based, how many we've got? 48 sources. So, should be pretty on the money or in the top percentage of being factually accurate. So, imposter syndrome, the silent career killer for songwriters. 70% of musicians have experienced imposter syndrome, the feeling of frauds who will be found out. I definitely get that more with singing, I think, because I'm focused on singing the right note. And with Chris Lipe's help, who I would recommend above anybody else I've ever come across singing-wise. I know Joe Porter and these other people are amazing, and maybe it's whichever kind of jigsaw piece fits your puzzle for one. But he's amazing. So I'm learning to just let go and look at character and tone and placement and resonance and things like that first. I don't know, what do you suffer the most in terms of imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome has increased, although I think if I've got any success, when I get the success, I think it will be, I'll be like, oh, I'm going on stages with different people that are more established. I think I definitely get it, to be honest. Imposter syndrome has increased 225% among creative professionals since 2018. Is that a rise since social media? Is it one of the drawbacks of it? What do you think? 63.3% of songwriters have passed up opportunities due to self-doubt. I saw Big Soph. She didn't mention who it was, but she was saying that she mentored an artist up until the point where they got the break that they wanted and then they tapped out. So this imposter syndrome is a corrosive career killer. So after covering perfectionism and creating burnout, we're addressing the silent career killer that might be the most destructive of all. Don't know if it is the most destructive of all, but it looks like it's a big one. It's not about just feeling a bit insecure. It's about a psychological pattern affecting 70% of musicians that causes talented songwriters to reject opportunities, downplay their achievements, and believe they're frauds despite evidence of their ability. Today, we're going to have a look at complete research on why imposter syndrome is an epidemic in songwriting, the neurological reasons why it happens, and the evidence-based methods to defeat it. Sick. Do it. So, we're going to have a look at the nice colour chart. I always like a bit of beige with slightly faded colours. It always looks sick, doesn't it? Statistics showing the imposter syndrome epidemic affecting songwriters and music creators, in 2025. The immature part of me just thought of the poo emoji for that. I don't know why. Lost opportunities, 63.3% is higher music. Don't know what that means. Experienced imposter syndrome, higher music. No, I still don't know what it means. Experienced imposter syndrome, 70%. Depression, 65%. And anxiety and panic, up 70%. So we're going to have a look more about these statistics shortly. Usually puts up below. No, it hasn't. Well, we'll keep having a look. Let me show you the data. Well, I've just showed you it. It reveals the severity of the crisis. They are minor concerns at industry-wide mental health statistics that explain why talented songwriters quit before they succeed. So 70% of people working in music report anxiety and panic attacks. That's mental, man. I know statistics and studies can be wavy because it's who's actually reporting it. overall, I think men report it as much as women. I don't think so anyway. So, but as a rough estimate, that's insane. 65% have experienced depression versus 15% of general population. I wonder if this is to do with business building as well, or whether it's just I guess imposter syndrome can come across and seep into a lot of things. We don't get taught business, do we? So because we don't get taught business, and financial literacy, I guess we get reflections of why we're not good enough and able enough. But especially when comparisonitis pops in and you focus on vanity metrics about the things that you know or know as well as you can, like content and streaming. But even then, within the niche of being able to create the content and getting the streams to pop in the way that you want, it's a bit of a hole with a boat. You don't really know how to fix it. I'm going this doom cycle. So I understand that massive amount of uncertainty is part of it. That's actually with the arc that I'm going on. And you guys can join if you want. There's a link down below, but you obviously don't have to. You can just chill. The way that I'm getting to level 1 of resurrecting my arts career through the art goes through, it transforms in many areas. So it'd be interesting if those areas were solved, whichever way was best for the music artist. What would these percentages be like? And would going through those stages and transformations address the things, the belief systems really, and the skill sets that would need to be upgraded along with them? Would that help take a chunk off? It'd be really interesting. But we have seen a 225% increase in imposter syndrome amongst creatives since 2018, which is, so it has gone from 24% to 70%. It's the majority, like 3/4 of everything in it over, or just there about 65%, 70%. The imposter syndrome specific, 70% of people have experienced imposter syndrome at some point in their lives. 66.6% believe imposter syndrome is higher amongst musicians specifically. Is that true though? Because if it's a belief, it doesn't necessarily mean it's true, right? 63.3% of musicians have passed up opportunities due to feelings of self-doubt. Have you? If so, what is it? What was it? And why? You'd have to go into personal detail though. Think about that last statistic. Nearly 2/3 of musicians have said no to career advancing opportunities. Not because they couldn't do it, but because they didn't believe they were good enough. Such a waste. Doing things like the Tony Robbins stuff and if Julie Cameron's things, I imagine, help with the belief systems, and listening to people regulate, that can really help. One big thing I've found helped in the past is when you go through different states in a day, right? Sometimes you can believe in yourself, sometimes you can't. Even if you don't believe in yourself more than you do, if you capture the part where you do on voice memo, and you can listen to it in the morning and reset your brain, and then any amount of times in the day that you need, it helps rewire you. And probably I've found more than even listening to other people talk specific about things, because it's you and you can address your beliefs, and it's you in a state of, I can do this, or look what I did before, this is who I am. Then I got it from Tony Robbins and laid it out when I did my voice memo. But you can do whatever works for you. But that was massive. I remember waking up, my head was a bit wonky. I listened to that and it went, it like tuned it up. It's like tuning the guitar. It's like frequencies, right? You tune up your higher frequency. I know sometimes it can be a bit of a cliche, but I think it does. You tune up to a frequency where you're hearing and speaking and knowing the truth. So that's one thing I would it's free, it's easy, and you can do it. Because there's been in times in your life where you have succeeded and have overcome stuff, and you know that you have done it. even when we were like little, speaking or talking or going into new environments, we've got countless. We just forget these canon moments that were. If you zoom in on these canon moments, it only has to be small. Even if it was you were just sat and feeling like sorry for yourself, and then you realise life's too short. And what do I want to be looking back at, like as a rocking chair test when I'm like 95? What would I want to say to myself? Then I got up and I was like, nah, I can do this. Even that, boom, that's it. Capture that. And then when you're doing it, like these videos, once you're on something, you can riff on it. And then the more you get used to talking about it, the more it ingrains in you. It's like they are like reps. It just gets you out of a cycle of not knowing what to talk about or say to yourself, or the same that we have the same, was it like, I don't know, it's thousands of thoughts every day. They just repeat. So even by speaking to yourself on a voice memo or like a long one, I found that really helps. This is the second thing. It's like verbal journaling. Guys don't generally like the word journaling, but it's basically just getting it out. Like John Deloney says, you just have to get it out. He doesn't know why, but he's like grief needs a witness. That's why speaking to someone professional, or you have friends or things like that, is huge. A big one that has actually helped with me is, like I say, immediate voice memo and stuff, and then listening back to it. You don't even have to send it to someone. You can delete it afterwards, but just getting it out is a really great way of doing it as well. So those two things, if you're struggling with these types of things, they're two approaches. One that can be regular, as in listening to the same thing, and one that you can do on a daily basis or that is fresh each time helps. Also, if you just speak what you really speak as if there's nobody there, it can be as crazy and fucking weird and like unhinged as you want, because I've got this inside us. We just let that out. It doesn't mean we mean it, but if we just say all this stuff, once it's out, it's like a cleanse. So you can give it a go if you want. Imposter syndrome is the persistent feeling of being a fraud despite evident success and accomplishments. It's the inner voice saying you don't truly belong or that you're not as skilled as others perceive you to be, that's the definition. So where does that turn up in your songwriting? And if we can focus in on our songwriting and transform it there, it can affect other things. I guess as well, it can affect everything accumulates. So if you want to go to the gym, but you get an imposter syndrome about it and you get yourself to the gym, that's the muscle of imposter syndrome getting beefed out, but in a good way. And then you can transfer that to your music. So there's where in your personal life and your music life can you interchange these and just go for 1% or better, these micro wins? Because I know there's triggers, but I heard a really great thing ages ago about glimmer. And we know we can, our alert system, our radar can see the blips of a trigger really easy. But if we look for blips of glimmers as well, they can be huge wins, because then they can accumulate. So yeah, boom. The songwriter's imposter paradox. Research showing that imposter syndrome intensifies as musical ability and sophistication increases. So I guess this is the opposite of the Dunning-Kruger effect, possibly. Because when you don't know things, there's a stage where you think you do know loads of things and you can get arrogant. Whereas like this is the adage of the more you know, the less you realize you know. So it's interesting. Everything's got its opposite, hasn't it? So your arrogance and imposter syndrome are connected by the looks of things, which I wouldn't have tied them together. Maybe it's about merging the two and diluting the two and having the confidence in where you're at, but just knowing that you're always able to grow and that Felipe's got a great vocal approach where he says that nothing's wrong, but everything is an opportunity, right? So rather than having a verbal attack on yourself, being like, I messed that. Like, what did you do and where's the opportunity within it? Because a lot of the time when you're singing, the bad sounds you did has an opportunity to go somewhere great. Or even if you are focusing on the note instead of character, well, that's an opportunity to build up your focus on character. So the opposites can teach us lessons. It's kind of like if sadness can help us see the bright things in life, or that sort of thing, right? So maybe we can take the lessons from imposter syndrome and arrogance, and imposter syndrome and arrogance if you're in Dunning-Kruger, but for the imposter syndrome this is an opportunity. It's not even anything wrong or you're messing up or things like that. It can be an opportunity to become more grounded within yourself. And obviously, no, it's not just all woo-woo. Like if you like hit a toddler in the kidneys, it's you can't just go, oh man, nothing's wrong. It's just an opportunity. Obviously, it's wrong, and there's an opportunity for you to be a better person, but that was wrong. So it's obviously grounded in principles and stuff. But as long as it's not hurting anybody, Pickle. Where it gets fascinating and tragic is that research shows that imposter syndrome actually intensifies as musical ability increases, as we've seen. The better you get, the worse the imposter feelings become. I wonder if like Capaldi and stuff get all this. I wonder if he's mentioned things like that. A research finding to a study measuring musical sophistication using the gold MSI scale, I don't know what that is, found a moderately positive correlation, R equals 0.39. Einstein, you missed out on that one, buddy. Between musicality levels and imposter syndrome intensity. As participants' musical ability increased, their imposter tendency scores also increased. So that will happen with other parts, I guess, as well as we increase our careers. It's something to be aware of, that maybe the skill sets and the achievements that we think are going to solve this are not. They're just going to be more breeding grounds for more imposter syndrome, which sounds like, oh, chuffing heck. But really, you want both, don't you? You want to be able to navigate imposter syndrome and grow as your career and your life progresses. So this is a good thing. It's knowing that the thing that we think is going to solve it isn't going to solve it, but that's okay. So if we look at the core issues, which I'm presuming they're going to, or we're going to have a look at later, not the issues, the solutions, or some key solutions. If we just work that regardless of what we're doing, that can be a muscle that we increase as life goes up and down, because successes come and go, don't they? So, there's different seasons in it. So why this happens is, one, increased awareness of complexity. When you're a beginner, you don't know what you don't know. As you develop skill, you become acutely aware of how much more there is to learn. This awareness gets misinterpreted as inadequacy. So you're not inadequate, you're just aware of your inadequacy. No, but no, we're not inadequate. We just realize how much there is to learn, which is can be a scary thing. But it's funny how our brains do this. There's more to learn than I know equals I'm inadequate. Well, actually, you're more capable than you were at the beginning when you were probably more confident. So, 2, higher stakes. The more successful you become, the more you have to lose. Higher stakes create fear of being exposed and not deserving your success. 3, competitive environment. The music industry is described as a competitive subject where musicians are constantly being perceived and judged. The better you get, the higher the level of competition you face. I also guess there's male equivalents as well, but speaking to my girlfriend, she says as a music artist, as a female music artist, a lot of the time, if you do something, it's like, I couldn't do that on your own. You even need a dude to help you. So you've kind of got different, as an artist, as general, you're going to get someone, and male and female will have their own struggles and preconceived like viewpoints from other people. I don't know enough about both individually, but I would presume they're both there on different scales. So creating vulnerability, songwriting is deeply personal. You're not just presenting skills, you're presenting pieces of yourself. This vulnerability makes imposter feelings more intense. So I guess, yeah, you're introspecting on your own the gaps in your life or the things that have the journey, the things that have come together and the things that have torn apart sometimes. So if you're aware of that and you're aware of the things you can get better at, you're more aware of your inadequacies. But it's the old, it's kind of a cliche, I'll paraphrase, but it's the ones that know the least that speak the loudest. Or it's Dunning-Kruger, isn't it? It's like this is the opposite. So actually, what this is imposter syndrome seems like a really positive thing. Not in the effect that it can have, but the stage that you're at, we're becoming more aware of ourselves and our art, and just realizing where the kind of gaps are. And maybe the full circle is becoming okay with the gaps and embracing it, and being graceful to ourselves. So that's self-care, isn't it? And just being chill with being able to know where we can get better. And it's also exciting because if you're aware of where you can get better, wicked, how can we get better at it? At least we can improve. If we just totally chilling about where we're at, we're going to stagnate or go backwards. So the destructive cycle, showing how imposter syndrome progressively erodes songwriting confidence, is obviously, it's tiny, I can't read any of that, but underneath it shows what it is. So it's not just a feeling, it's a self-perpetuating cycle that progressively erodes your confidence and kills your career. Here's how it works. Stage one, create something. You finish your song. Maybe you even feel good about it initially. Confidence level, moderate. Sounds like, I don't know, it just reminded me of this astronaut, right? Voice log or something. Stage two, self-doubt creeps in. Most immediately, the questions start, is this actually good? Am I being objective? Stage three, the comparison trap. You start comparing your songs to successful artists. Other songwriters are so much better. My lyrics aren't original enough. Stage four, fraud feelings emerge. FFE, the internal narrative shift. I'm not a real songwriter. Real songwriters don't struggle like this. Stage five, fear of exposure. Panic sets in. If I share this, people will discover I don't actually know what I'm doing. Stage six, downplay achievements. Even if a song gets positive feedback, you dismiss it. They're just being nice. It was luck. The production saved weak writing. Stage seven, avoid opportunities. When opportunities arise, showcases, co-write placements. Let's say that like a noob. When opportunities arise, showcases, co-writes, placements. You say, nah, I'm not ready. I'm just not good enough. Stage 8, confidence plummets. Each avoided opportunity reinforces the belief that we're not capable. The cycle deepens. Stage 9, the song has more doubt. You try writing again, but now you carry all this accumulated fear and self-doubt into the next creative session. Number 5, the 5 core imposter beliefs. See if we can see it before we go. 1, do I deserve this? Achievement dismissal. 2, can I repeat this? Success doubt. Number 3, is this just luck, which is attribution error. 4, will I be found out, which is the fraud fear. And am I less talented, which is a comparison trap. I would imagine these things in the middle are effects. So we have a fear about being a one-hit wonder. We fear about being in the right place at the right time. We avoid sharing our work. We compare ourselves on social media. We downplay success. Does this sound like you? Does sound like me. Definitely in areas. So the research has identified 5 core beliefs that drive imposter syndrome. Understanding these helps you recognize them when they appear. Belief 1, do I deserve this? You downplay achievements. When a song succeeds, you attribute it to luck, timing, or the right connections. Anything except your own skill. Songwriter manifestation is the production made it work, not my writing. The melody was obvious. Anyone could have written it. I just got lucky with the timing. Belief number 2, can I repeat this? One-hit wonder fear. You're convinced that any success was a fluke you can't replicate. Songwriter manifestation. That was my one good song. I've used up all my ideas. I'll never write something that good again. Belief 3, is this just luck? You can't accept that skill played a role. Everything good that happens is attributed to external factors. In the manifestation in our songwriting, it's just the right place, the right time. If I had sent it to a different A&R person, it would have been rejected. Belief 4, will I be found out? The constant fear that someone will discover that you're not as talented as they think. Songwriting manifestation, if I collaborate with better songwriters, they'll see that I don't belong. Better to work alone than stay hidden. Belief 5, am I less talented than others? Constant comparison convinces you that everyone else is naturally more gifted. Songwriting manifestation, scrolling social media, seeing other songwriters' success. They're real songwriters. I'm just pretending. Slide, why songwriters are especially vulnerable. So as songwriters, we face unique conditions that make imposter syndrome more likely and more severe. 1, creative vulnerability. Writers are described as perfect targets for imposter syndrome because writing is a deeply personal expression. Rejection of your song feels like rejection of your inner self, and just feel like that, doesn't it? I think that. Do you think that's why we get so about a mix? When we play something, we have to go, it's not, the mix isn't quite right. It's a bit of a cliche now, but it's I haven't quite got the mix. You just have to defend it straight off the bat. I find that I do. But then it's leaning in with the Phineas approach when you are ready, that the things that you choose to do from a production point of view, you'll just stand behind because you like it. So even if people say it's too compressed or that like that reverb makes it sound muddy, if you like it and it's a winner. It doesn't matter if that's what is helping support and express your message and the experience, the story that you're telling. Boom, it's been all right with that. As long as you're good with it, you can let it go. Obviously, people can be more skilled, and then that's the case for us to learn from. But we never, and just knowing that we're never going to get a perfect song, we're never going to get a perfect mix. We're going to get great ones, and we can go for good enough to release, and then aim for an outstanding as our what we are able to produce. But just knowing that we're never going to get perfect ones. If it's got the message, it can do its thing, then we're on the winner. The isolation, no, lack of objective message. There's no universal standard for good songwriting. Unlike math, where 2 + 2 always equals 4. A song that one person loves, another might hate. This ambiguity fuels self-doubt. A lot of the award ceremonies are a bit of a joke now, I think, out there as well. So it is more objective. No, subjective. Subjective, I think. The isolation factor. Most songwriters work alone without feedback or guidance, without external validation or A&R coaching. They can't build objective self-assessment. You could always A/B it off people that you like. I guess that might work for production. But if you want to model an arc of a song in terms of intensities and journey, like a little roller coaster, you can write that down, the journey of it. If you write a song along those lines, does it do the job as effectively as the one that you love? That would be a way of being able to have something concrete to compare it to. So maybe we can play around with those sorts of things, pre-existing songs, and it doesn't mean we copy them, but we could find songs that have either very similar arcs in terms of the journey it goes on, instrumentally, dynamically, songwriting, that sort of thing. Or if we write to a song that we want to model, then that just gives us something to bounce off of as one option. Social media amplification, constant exposure to others' highlight reels creates distorted comparisons. You compare your rough demos to their released mastered tracks. Industry gatekeeping. The narrative that most artists are releasing garbage and only 2% of songs meet quality standards creates fear. Am I part of the 98% garbage? We had a look at that right at the beginning. They're not up to quality. So again, you can be concrete with it. If you've got songs that you think sound great, reference tracks, mixers use that a lot, and masters, I would imagine, when we're getting used to it, or if we're not as skilled as somebody who can just go straight away. Reference tracks are great, so you can definitely A/B it. Find a song that's garbage, find a song that is absolute quality, and see where yours fits. And you've got a scale. Tony Robbins thing, isn't it? I'm sure loads of other people say no, but if you can measure it, you can manage it, and it's much more. You're much more able to change gears when you know what gear you're in it to begin with. Where the pedals are and stuff, right? You know what to move. So songwriting, that'll be like production or the songwriting arc. You can create your own pedals. Subjective success metrics is number 6. What defines success? Streams, critical acclaim, financial return. The moving goalpost means you never feel you've made it. We're going to have a look at what imposter syndrome costs us. They aren't minor inconveniences. These are career-ending consequences. It's a boom. It's a 1-2 to the jaw and kidneys, man. Opportunities lost. 63.63%, have turned down opportunities due to self-doubt. Co-writing sessions have been declined. Publishing deals not pursued. Showcases avoided. And sync placements not submitted. We've all been there in one area. Because you don't believe it, do you? You're so certain about it, you don't actually put it to the test. Creative shutdown. 80% believe self-sabotage results from fraud feelings. Songs are unfinished because they're not good enough. Whereas you can, was it the Nick Cage we were looking at, which was one of the ones I lost, but I'll come back to him. Any song can be a good song. Oh, was that might have been someone else, but yeah, basically any song can be a good song. There'll be elements in it that you can turn into a great song, and it's an opportunity. If something's not working, you can try the opposite. If something sounds terrible, what is the opposite that could sound great? You can bounce off. It's an interesting concept because I always thought, good song, bad song, or good demo, bad demo. But I guess in terms of speed, yeah, but you can always imagine chisel out the David under the marble. Opposites are quite a good way of doing things, like we're saying. Writer's block from fear of not repeating success. Perfectionism amplified by imposter thoughts. Having confidence that you can repeat success, because if you've done it once, you can do it again, unless there's something physically stopping you. Even then, I saw one of the best bass players I've ever seen was a guy. I don't think he had fingers. He had his thumb. I'm not sure he had a full thumb. He was sick. His left hand was doing it. His right hand was, like I say, it must have been like a stump or something. Guy was killing it, man. I remember watching him. I was so obsessed with like the nuances of getting good, but in a way that was blocking me a lot of time. I was way overthinking stuff. This perfection. I would imagine it would definitely be imposter because you want to fit in. Don't feel like especially when you want playing or singing. This songwriting obviously has this as well. But you feel like you're going into a field, aren't you? Figuratively, obviously, unless you're playing a festival, which would sick. Do that. But you just want to be respected. Then it comes back to, I guess, tribe. You want to be respected by the tribe. You want certainty and significance and the things that are going to make you feel safe. Understandable. And to be able to contribute and grow and have adventures and whole Maslow hierarchy thing. So it's understandable why. But mental health deterioration, imposter syndrome often co-occurs with depression and anxiety. Is our ability to know what other metrics to focus on, like branding, and then what content to make, and how we're going to get people into communities, and then how we're going to monetize, and then how we're going to scale. Those things create certainty in knowing how we've got a flywheel or funnel, whichever you prefer. I'm still learning about two. At the moment, I think I prefer flywheel. But when you've got those, I think that I've definitely seen it will alleviate the anxiety of posting and hoping and getting it locked to the 200 view jail or things not hitting our comments. You look at those sorts of things which are effects, but they're also not the metrics that are most important. Great if it happens, but you want an audience. It's better to have a smaller audience that's really vibing you than the big one that is just there for like watching. Obviously, big audience that is really digging you is cool, but it's not just because you've got views or likes. It's a guarantee for success. So I would imagine this depression and anxiety. Depression will be linked into not feeling like we can get a career, that we have to, out of music, that we have to do all these jobs, these 9-to-5 jobs, or wait in a hospitality jobs that just are killing our soul. And that's creating depression, because I do think on a higher self level, whether it's subconscious or something else, we know we're meant for bigger things than that, unless that's your path of growth and stuff, which is obviously cool. But I wonder if these disperse when we have these other things to be able to focus on and know that there's certainty that we can make it happen. Creative careers abandoned for not lack of talent, but lack of self-belief. We can do it, guys. If one person could do it, we can do it. And there's especially with social media, the plus side of social media is we get to see a lot more of people's journeys, and we can see backstories and documentaries. And like, if you look at the Coldplay documentary, it's nuts. They were just some dudes at uni, and look where they are, regardless of whether you like them or not. Like, they've crushed it. There's so many like that. So we can be inspired and model and know that we are. This belief of, if they did it, we can, is just garbage. We won't carry garbage around with us, would we? Like stinky old mushroom packets and stir fry sauces and stuff that just. But that's mentally what we're doing. It just stinks and it rots. So this self-belief, we can just, it's not true. So we can just let it go off into the wind. So isolation from fear of being found out in collaborative sessions. We want to know that we've got some ways of being able to create certainty. You get certainty and significance at the base of it, isn't it? And then just knowing that sometimes we're going to mess up as well. A lot of the time it's volume, just doing loads of it. Volume negates luck, I think is the right way of saying it. But you don't need luck when you can do volume. And doing loads of reps, how do people get dense, man? Reps and loads of steroids. But no, they get dense. They've got a good diet, what they put into the body. Same with us. Experiences, music, beliefs, reps of the things that we can do. We need to get done, like the next best thing of getting a structure, a system, skill set that can support our goals and our dreams. And then we can do it, man. These systems, these patterns that we see other people do, it's the same. And then then you become muscular. You have a resting strength. So if you listen to Rick Rubin, he can just chill there on a beanbag talking to Rick Beato. He's just got resting strength because he's got experience. He's got these beliefs. He's got things behind him and in him that allow him to have that certainty and to be able to deal with a large amount of uncertainty. Because that's another thing that we see, don't we? Is that people who are successful can deal with a large amount of certainty. How do you deal with a large amount of uncertainty? You have to go through a large amount of uncertainty. A lot of time, not know what the chuff you're going to do. It's that growth edge thing, right? Sometimes we dipped in it, sometimes we can gradually go into it. But the thing that we go into fearing and not knowing how we can do it are actually the compost for the growth that will then help take us to new growth edges and levels and be able to plant and share and give our experiential fruits away. So I guess it's a whole yin yang thing, isn't it? Like the thing that you most want is in the thing that you most don't want. And Peterson goes into this as well, doesn't he? So what actually works, which is research based, 1, acknowledge and name it. The first step is recognizing those thoughts as imposter syndrome, not reality. Naming it reduces its power. 2, self-evaluation framework. Ask yourself, what are my key strengths? What are ideas for development? Who can I collaborate with to fill gaps? This builds objective self-awareness. 3, celebrate micro wins. Track every accomplishment. Finished songs, positive feedbacks, opportunities taken. Build evidence against the fraud narrative. I remember when I was doing practice, I had like a log, and by the end of 3 weeks or whatever it was, I was like, I've done loads, but we forget because we don't log it. I don't log it, which is why I'm really grateful to be able to do these series and just see how it as a feedback. So it's the same for you. What can you take from this to help on a daily, weekly basis, whatever serves you the most, to help chisel away in the marble into your David, your I can do this, man. And it'll come like marble. It just comes in little bits. Some bits are bigger than others that slip off. Some smaller. Sometimes you might get to a really tricky bit of the marble. You might have to spend a while there. Sometimes you might be defeated. You might think, oh, this is taking me ages. It's a journey, isn't it? Michelangelo cracked it. So if we can get these analogies ingrained, one will be enough. But if we get these analogies that we can come back to and remind ourselves through a voice note or like writing down a sticky note, whatever helps, putting into the lyrics of our songs. And then songs are just mantras, right? I think they're like affirmations, a lot of them. Like it's spells, it's magic, isn't it? So we can put that into our songwriting. It's the same sort of thing with content. Is we don't think we've got a lot to say, but our story has so much in it. Even if it's that we've lived the most boring life ever. What amazing content! I've lived the most boring life ever. I'm going to change it. People would watch that, man. So we have all these amazing things inside us to be able to put into songs, even if it's you write a song about imposter syndrome and not believing you can write a good song. You put it in lyrics, boom, people are going to listen to that, and then you can explore your whole arc of going through it, or you just really zoom into one little bit, your storytelling, your feelings, and all this kind of stuff. Then you create music with it, and you know what? If it's not the best song ever, cool. You actually did it. You did a rep. Awesome. You're closer to the way you want it to be than you were before. And you used the imposter syndrome as momentum to get you there. And then you just know that even when you do get better, imposter syndrome is going to be peaking for you, because as we get better, we realize the more we don't know, and then we can just be more aware of it and catch it, like acknowledge it and name it, like I said at first. So celebrate micro wins. We've done that, as well as the self-evaluation framework. 4, talk about it in the comment section with your friends, on forums that you're in, with your mates. Share struggles with fellow musicians. Life and music routines, but after all, man, we will discover that nearly everyone experiences this. Community breaks the isolation. 5, focus on your journey, not comparison. There's room for every artist to succeed in their own way. Your path doesn't need to look like anyone else's, and it won't. That's what's so inspiring about other people's stories. They've got all these nuances, and whether it's Sylvester Stallone selling and buying back his dog when he created Rocky, or like Ed Sheeran when he went around all these shows and he did them and no one came, and he went on this like boy band thing, I think. Crushed it, man. So it's all the through line of the principles and a lot of the challenges that they face. Even what gets us is when we see people doing things, it's like the tapestry is that we see is their experiences and the story, but we know on a subconscious level, even if we're not thinking about it. I think if we turn it over the tapestry, you can see all the stitching and the frayed knots and stuff, and they're like the challenges that we will both have. Even if you haven't gone through, you'll have the same sort of internal challenges of things like imposter syndrome, or limiting beliefs and what I think probably magnetizes us is that there's this unspoken glue that's fixed it, and we know because we know what's underneath it. So your journey is going to be as magnetizing. A lot of the time as well, if you watched a film and it was just success, it will get boring. Alan Watts has a thing, doesn't he? He says that if you could dream endless lives, one of the lives that you would dream would be this one. And a lot of it would be to do because you want the challenge. Maybe that's like a soul challenge as well. Going higher self sort of stuff with it. But the challenges are part of your story. It's what makes it engaging. The bigger challenges that someone has and their attempt to overcome it, we have like huge amount of respect for them. So you can have a huge amount of respect for yourself for the watching a video like this, and then knowing there'll have been things in there that you will be like, I can do that. And you can look back at your life and be like, know that you did do a lot of things. Or you have done stuff in different areas as well as music that you've tried and you've gone up and down, but the downs don't mean you failed. It's just that it's like a wave in it. So I know it probably gets a bit too woo-woo, but it's like we don't judge a wave for going up and down. We just know that that's the journey. Obviously, it's important for us to get ourselves up again, but if we go down, we have a bit of a dip. It's okay. It's like we're human, and everyone's going through this. A lot of the time with our troubles, we can just think it's just us, and that nobody else is going through it. But it's not. That's another false presumption of the world and about yourself, ourselves, because I'm in this too. So focus. Yeah. So number 6, take risks, embrace imperfection. Submit the imperfect song, share the rough demo. The best moments come from experimentation and vulnerability. How can you do one of these today? Or is there 2 or 3 that you could do? I know the things in the week, this week, what could you put for each day, some of these things that you can do? Could you have a chat with a mate about it? Could you make sure that you set an alarm on your phone to celebrate micro wins? Can you evaluate? You could do that in you could ask Perplexity to put a world-class 5-minute self-evaluation about musical key strength, areas of development. Who can I collaborate to fill gaps? And other questions to help build self-awareness. Then stick it to your wall. Look at every morning or something. You think these little micro wins make such difference to the bricks in the wall that start creating certainty for us. So we can do it, man. The truth about imposter syndrome is that it doesn't want you to that it doesn't want you to know that if you're worried about whether you're good enough, you probably are. Real frauds don't question themselves. They're too busy faking confidence. Fake it till you make it, I guess. So your self-doubt is actually evidence of your awareness and growth. Like we were talking about earlier, this is actually a really positive sign that you're getting in imposter syndrome. Because you're growing and you're getting aware of where you can get better and where perhaps in the past you were too confident. And great, these awareness, like we were saying, this is your growth. And in 6 months, these things that you're worried about not being able to be good enough, you'll either be over and onto growing onto the next things, or you'll be on the journey of it. But it's a whole journey. It's a hero's journey. Have a look at the hero's journey if you haven't already, because it's brilliant. And you can see that if you're in the valley of despair, you can be like, oh, I'm just there. But I will, if I keep going, I'll come up to the top. It's really helped me in the past, is being able to, where I felt a bit lost and down on myself and lacking clarity. Hero's journey is a winner, man, because it's just a universal pattern that we all go through on little scales and big scales up to our like other living beings go through it. I'd imagine like even planets and seasons and all these kind of civilizations. It's this shared experience that we all go through, and it's just we experience these big turns in life and forces and things that are just way beyond us in terms of understanding and being able to control. We're very much a boat on the ocean. I guess this is about being able to navigate it with the stars and stuff. The natural things that are already there, that when we can pattern connect, we can create certainty out of something that just looked like randomness and something that we were going to get lost in. So I hope this has really helped. Keep up the awesome work. In the comments, let me know what's helped, what you're struggling with, what's helped you succeed, how your music's going, what are the things this week you can do. I'd just love to hear from you. So have a dope day. Thanks for coming all this way with us. And yeah, peace. Speak to you soon.